Good evening, dear teacher. One more time, Nancy Ludeña. In this opportunity, I am going to present my lesson plan number 3, the 20th century inventions. In this case, we are going to introduce phrasal verbs with technology in 3rd grade of accurate. During this lesson, students develop the critical thinking, talking about historical invention and how some inventions have changed our life. First of all, we're setting the objectives, in this case for listening, speaking, reading, and writing. In the first case, students will be able to use phrasal verbs to talk about historical events and intention. In the reading skills, they will be able to understand factual texts. For listening, students will be able to understand information about important invention or historical events and which have changed our society. And for writing, the students will be able to write an informative article about an important historical invention. So for this opportunity, I am going to use the methodology and the following strategies: direct method and grammar translation, because the phrasal verb is a little difficult topic. In this case, most of the students need to translate some phrasal verbs. As strategies, I am going to use the whole class word, especially for conversation and review answer of the book, the group work, and finally collaborative work for the projects, because they are going to develop writing an article or an essay, taking into account what are the advantages or disadvantages of one of the inventions. First, teacher shows some flashcards about important inventions and analyze the previous knowledge. Teacher can ask students about what's the name of the inventor. For example, in this case, who invented light bulb? And they maybe know that Thomas Alva Edison. And who invents the television? And so they can name more other inventions in the next parts, such as one-man activity. They can introduce another invention with an inventor. Maybe teacher can apply a kind of game. For example, in 5 minutes, boys and girls, there are 2 teams, and they have to choose one member who can tell some inventions with their inventors. Okay, for example, in this case, Alexander Graham invented the telephone, Isaac Newton invented the telescope, while the teacher are writing on the board. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, John Logie Baird invented television. So which has more inventions and their inventors is the winner. And also, a teacher can present a poster like that to remember some important inventions and what were their inventors. In the next part, students open their student book and look at for the inventions. In this case, a television, a cell phone, a Rubik's Cube, airplane, vacuum, the microwave oven. They are going to identify which is the current year, which invent corresponding, and after that with the picture. Okay, so in this case, that is the correct answer. The bulb paint is in 1938, the airplane is in 1903, television 1926, and so on. That's a good moment for teacher to explain about how students should tell the numbers, the number of the year. Then, in listening part, they are going to complete with the verbs in the word bank and complete the grammar chart. For example, in this case, they are going to read and listen and pay attention which is the correct phrasal verb goes into each space in blank. So each activity could be in groups or maybe in pairs according to the time of the teacher. After they have finished to write the correct phrasal verbs in the spaces in blank, teacher reflects on the grammar. But before that, teacher explain what is the meaning of the phrasal verbs, okay, and explain their change. In this case, students use the definition provided of the information from exercise 2 and complete the phrasal verbs. In this case, we can use grammar translation because most of the times the same phrasal verb have many different meanings. Okay, so students have to learn by heart what is the meaning of each phrasal verb related to technology. For example, leave behind, to become obsolete. Maybe they can translate rely on, to count, or depend of. In other situations, rely on means another thing. Clean up, to make neat and tidy. Take after, to resemble or to look like. Work up, to solve or figure out. These verbs have another meaning in other situation, in other context. Come and with is the same, to invent or create. Keep out, to emit or broadcast. And came across, to find accidentally. So in this case, the methodology is grammar translation, especially the students understands the correct meaning according to the context. The teacher explained the phrasal verb, which consists of a verb and plus a preposition or an adverb that modifies or changes the original verb's meaning. Phrasal verbs are either separable or not separable. And they are going to complete some parts of the reading, like in this case. And after that, a teacher explained that there is no rule to tell which is which, okay? Explained also what about the particle and verb can't be separated by the object in some cases. Then, for developing reading comprehension, students read an article like this that is about technology and correct some mistakes with the correct phrasal verb. So students read the article and then they are going to correct what is the correct phrasal verb or what is the correct phrase. That's it according with the tests, like in this case. For listening activity, they are going to listen to a presentation about invention and answer this question. What became obsolete when the disposable razor blade was invented? Which invention imitates the fountain pen? Which invention facilitates the finding of information? And what does the lecturer think about the Rubik's Cube? Okay, so in this case, they are going to develop their listening skills and paying attention in a keen way, looking for the correct details. And for guided practices, the students are going to complete, do some exercise with a live worksheet. Like in this case, I'm going to share the live worksheet solved. And as I say in activity before, the students have the opportunity to correct some mistakes and they learned a little more by themselves, okay? Some worksheets like that is about the phrasal verb with technology too, and they have the opportunity to increase their vocabulary and practice too about the phrasal verb. On the other hand, for independent practice, students work the workbook that could be in pairs or in group of 4, And the first part, they are going to complete about the vocabulary, and on the other part, they are going to use the correct phrasal verbs according to the phrases, and they have to choose what is the correct phrasal verb. Finally, in the same groups, the teacher sent for homework a writing. The writing, they can be an essay on an article about one important invention. They are going to choose only one invention, and they are going to write about how important is it in our lives, how it has changed our lives. Maybe they can mention some advantages or disadvantages, and in conclusion, if they decide to do an essay. So the teacher explained a little more about how to write in the guided activities. Finally, the teacher gives a brief description about the phrasal verb, the phrasal verb, and that is for this lesson plan. Thank you so much.